Hello everyone. Today in this session I am going to discuss about the topic from the physiology. That is the very first topic from the physiology. We have about the digestion and what are the absorption of the nutrient substances. In the before module we discuss about that digestion of the carbohydrates. Now in this session I am going to discuss about the what are the digestion and the absorption of the proteins, which is again a major nutrients for our dietary requirements. The dietary requirements of our body contain majorly, it may be classified into like carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, cellulose for the animals, and then vitamins, minerals. So many dietary components are there, which will be in each and every module. I am going to discuss about the every topic here. So previous topic I discussed about that carbohydratization and what are the absorption process of the carbohydrates. Now let us see about the proteins. Before understanding about the proteins, we have to know what are the proteins. Proteins are again nothing but these are also the very much essential components for the development of the organism. It is also made up of the amino acids, which gives the body building capacity of the body of the animals or the body of the organisms here. So it is the what we can say here, body builder components of the organisms. So how the proteins are going to be digest and what are the process behind this to the digestion and the absorption of the proteins in the form of the nutrients. So we can't directly absorb what are the proteins are there, what are the dietary requirement substances are there. We have to be take in the form of the nutrients, which are again the in the absorbable form. If it is not that much of absorbable form, how can we digest it? So we can't digest in the our body as in the form of the nutrients. For our body, in the form of correct nutrient absorption, it has to be breakdown, it has to be go through the process of assimilation, it has to be reached to each and every cell of the individual. So that is the little bit brief introduction about this, how the protein are there. As we know, what are the proteins? Proteins are nothing but this is again contains the so many sources like cereals are also the sources of proteins here, and meat is also the protein source. Ground nuts are there, and some of the what we can say milk is also, egg is also is a source of the protein. And what the food, if we are taking in the form of the food, then how can it will be break and it will be reached to the each and every cell. That is total history we discussed in the physiology. What is the physiological processes, how our food is going to be digest and it could be reached to the each and every cell. That is the, let us see here. First of all, let me tell you what is the introduction of the digestion. We know the digestion is the process where the large substances are going to be break down into the smaller particles. That is the digestion process. Okay, then here what is the digestion of the proteins? So large form of the proteins are going to be converted into the smaller amino acids or smaller form of the proteins. Why? Because proteins are made up of the amino acids, all are with the combined to form a amino acids. Okay, then how then it will be breakdown? We are saying that breakdown of the substances, breakdown of the proteins, how they are breakdown in the presence of water. Whatever the food we are eating, by using the water, that food is going to be breakdown. So the process of breakdown of any substances in the presence of water is called as the hydrolysis. Lysis in the sense breakdown. Hydro means water. In the presence of water, if the substances are going to be breakdown into the smaller components, then it is called as the hydrolysis. So see here, degradation of proteins by the cellular enzymes in a process called as the hydrolysis. So directly that substances are not going to be breaks into the smaller pieces. Again it needs some supporters. What are those support material here? Those are nothing but the enzymes. So what the function of enzyme? If you remember in your previous classes, you know the function of enzymes. Enzymes enzymes are nothing but these are useful for increase the ability of any reaction. It does not change the components of the reaction, but it is enhance the speed or it decrease the speed. So some of like initiators, what we can say here some enzymes are act as the enhancers exam, some enzymes are the inhibitors enzymes are there, or you can say the regulatory enzymes which regulate the any reaction of the substances. So what we are saying here, whatever the proteins are there, those proteins are not directly breakdowns into the smaller pieces, but it needs the another substances, the another supporters or the associative, what we can say associative molecules are there, those are the enzymes. So by the help of these enzymes, these are also the some chemical substances, by the help of these enzymes in the presence of water, that proteins are going to be break down into the smaller substances. So that is mentioning here degradation. Degradation in the sense breakdown. Degradation means here it is the breakdown process of substances, breakdown of proteins by cellular enzymes. Cellular enzymes in a process of hydrolysis means within a cell some enzymes are there, some molecules are there which are help to the breakdown of the protein. Let me, if you take the example of the protein digestive enzymes, that you can take the example of the proteases, which is the protein digestive enzymes are the breakdown of the enzymes. And dietary sources of the proteins, as we know, it is come from both sources, like the animals, it is also a source of good source of protein, whereas plant are also the source of protein. In the plant you can take the example of like cereals and the groundnuts are there, whereas the animals means, so we can know the meat and the flesh, egg is also the milk, which is again the milk protein, which is again animal source is there. So basically the whatever the dietary sources of the proteins are there, those are again gained by the two ways. One is the animal source, another one is like a plant source. And then it could be the process, whatever the process of the digestion is there, that could be again classified or differentiate into the two different phases, means two stages are there. In these two stages, in these two different phases, the digestion of the proteins is carried out. One where in the stomach, first of all in the stomach the first phase is there, that is called as the gastric digestion. The term gastric is related to the stomach. And another one is like in the small intestine, whatever the remaining digestion is take place, that is take place into the intestine, that's why it is called as the intestinal digestion. Both of these phases of the digestion are based on several types of enzymes called as the proteinases and the proteases. So proteinases are also enzyme, it is also called as the proteases, which are useful for the breakdown of the proteins, whatever the dietary proteins are there, those dietary proteins are going to be breakdown in the presence of or by the help of these enzymes, those are called as the proteases. And you have to remember one thing, whenever we are getting this AS word or the AS term is there, this is related to the enzymes. Protein, okay, this is the protein. Proteases means the enzymes which are useful to break down the protein substances. So what I told here, so first of all the digestion of the proteins, it is carried out by the two ways. One is where it is take place, that is in the stomach. First the digestion is take place in the stomach. The part of the digestion which is take place into the stomach is called as the gastric digestion, and the another is remaining, that is the intestinal, so it is called as the intestinal digestion. So here flow chart is there, you can see here. The first one is the protein digestion, wherever the first phase is that related to the gastric digestion, where what happens here, some of the enzymes like the pepsin, and in the presence of hydrochloric acid HCl, and pepsin is also the enzyme, and the renin, and then gelatinase, and then ends in the proteases, peptones, and the large polypeptides. So this is all breakdown into the large molecules of the polypeptides. Poly means the long chain of the proteins. That long chain form of the proteins is called as the polypeptides. Okay, and again these molecules are combined with the bonds is called as the peptides. Peptide bond is present into the proteins, and that bond is breakdown by these proteases enzymes, are the breakdown enzymes of the proteins. And coming to the intestinal digestion, if we see the intestinal digestion, it takes the juices which is again secreted from the pancreas. Okay, the pancreatic juices also secreted into the intestine, and again the juices which are also secreted from the intestine. So these pancreatic juice and the intestinal juice both are secreted into the intestinal lumen. As a result, the ends in the complete digestion of the proteins into the amino acids. So totally it reaches to its end. Okay, where in the gastric enzyme, in the gastric digestion, half of, or you can say the partial digestion. So in the gastric digestion, or in the part of stomach, only the partial digestion of the substances will be take place. But whereas if we see the intestinal digestion, where the complete digestion process is take place, the total whatever the proteins are there, those proteins are completely breakdowns and reaches into the simple form of the proteins in the form of the amino acid. This is the total end product in the form of like a amino acids, where if the total amino acids are combined, so it forms into the proteins. But what we are reading here, what we are studying here, we are studying about the digestion of those proteins in the simple form. The simple form of the proteins is end up within the amino acid forms. So totally in the intestine, it reaches to its simpler form, it reaches to its end form, that is the amino acid, where it is easy to absorb into the cellular level. So see here, what are the different names of the enzymes, are the types of the proteolytic enzymes which are the break down the proteins. What are the proteolytic enzymes? Are the two types basically. These are the endopeptidase and the exopeptidase. Let me tell you what is the endopeptidase. Endopeptidase means, endo means related to the internal. Wherever we are talking about the endo, it is related to the internal side. Exo means here it is related to the external side. So what is the meaning of again this endo and the exo? Exo means this is like a external sides, or the outer region. So if the enzymes endopeptidase, suppose this is a protein chain, and if these enzymes are cut into the middle region or internal region of this protein chain, then those are called as the endopeptidase. Suppose instead of this, if we are saying that again, if these enzymes are cut at the external sides, this is the external or the outer region of the chain, as a result it is break down into the smaller pieces at the outer region, then it is called as in the form of like this, and due to the action of this exopeptidase. So external or the outer regions of the polypeptide chains are cut at the outer regions by these enzymes, then these enzymes are called as the exopeptidase. If it is cut at the internal or the middle region of the polypeptide chain, then it is called as the endopeptidase. So this is the little bit difference between this exo and the endopeptidase. So what is the function? What are the characteristics of this? See here, these endopeptidases act in the interior of the proteins. Okay, just now I discussed about that. Interior, so internal region is cut by or internal where it shows its action. The endopeptidase shows its action for the cutting of the polypeptide chain at the internal region, and it cleaves the internal peptide bond. So what is the bond which is present in the proteins? That is called as the peptide. You have to remember this. This peptide bond is present in between the proteins, whereas if we talk about the glucose, in the glucose molecules, the peptide bond, instead of this peptide bond, their glycosidic bond is present. In the glucose, which type of bond is present? If you see that, where in the glucose molecules, instead of the polypeptide or the peptide bond, their glycosidic bond is present. So what is the action of these endo and the exopeptidase? Where it has to be cut? It has to cut at the region of the bonding between the molecules. Then only they can be separate. So if we see about the exopeptidase, see here, it acts upon the periphery of the protein molecule. Periphery is nothing but again outer part. This is the outer region, outer surface. It cuts at the outer region or exterior part of the protein molecules. Interior part means internal regions. It cuts at the internal parts of the polypeptide chains and cleaves at the terminal peptide bonds. It cleaves the internal peptide bonds, whereas exopeptidase cut at the external or the terminal peptide bonds. Terminal in the sense again the outer region. And it forms the, whereas see here, endopeptidase, it end product is in the form of like a small polypeptides. What is the function of this endopeptidase? It just only cuts the long chain into the short chain, whereas exopeptidase cuts the, or it breaks into the last simpler form of the proteins, that is in the form of the free amino acid. Here the end product of the exopeptidase is the free form of or the free amino acid. These free amino acids are formed as a result of the action of exopeptidase. And here some of the example of this endopeptidase, you can take the example like pepsin. This is the pepsin endopeptidase, renin, trypsin, chymotrypsin, elastase. So these are the enzymes, various enzymes which are again, take the example, or which are again useful to cut at the internal surface of the polypeptide chain. Pepsin, renin, trypsin, chymotrypsin and elastase. If we take the example of exopeptidase, carboxypeptidase and the aminopeptidase. Carboxypeptidase, aminopeptidase. What it means? Carboxypeptidase means at the amino acid chain, at the protein chain, one end is contains the carboxyl group, another end is contains the amino group. If the enzyme which cut at the carboxyl group, then it is called as the carboxypeptidase. If the enzymes which cut at the amino group, which cut at the side of amino group, then it is called as the aminopeptidase. So this is the some of the properties of the exopeptidase and the endopeptidase. You people have to remember only one thing, that endopeptidase which cut at the internal part of the peptides, which cut at the internal part of the polypeptide chains. Exopeptidase which cut at the external part of the polypeptide chains. It shows or it breaks into form of the small polypeptides, whereas exopeptidase are formed the end products of the polypeptides in the form of free amino acids. And example for this, pepsin, renin, trypsin, chymotrypsin, elastase. whereas here carboxypeptidase and the aminopeptidase. So you can say this may be like the differentiation of the exo and the endopeptidase, or you can say these are the sum of properties belong to the exo and the endopeptidase. And see here again, this is the physiological part of that, how the digestion of the proteins will be take place. First of all, in the buccal cavity there is no protein digestion. You have to remember this word. Buccal cavity means in the mouth or in the oral cavity. In the mouth or the oral cavity there is no protein digestion. But glucose, if we talk about the glucose digestion by the presence of ptyalin enzyme, the glucose, some of the directly absorbable forms of the glucose or the carbohydrates are digested in the, or the process of digestion is start in the buccal cavity. But in the process of digestion of proteins, that is not take place into the buccal cavity. So no protein digestion. Suppose if we drink milk or if we eat egg, it does not break or it does not absorb into our mouth. Whereas if we eat the sugar or we eat the any substances related to the carbohydrate, some part is going to be digested into the buccal cavity. And gastric digestion, which will be take place into the stomach, the pepsinogen is converted into the pepsin. This pepsinogen is the inactive form, whereas pepsin is the active form. Pepsinogen, whenever you are getting this pepsinogen or the trypsinogen, so these are like inactive forms are the raw material. You can say the inactive form or the not digestive form or indigestive form, whereas it could be converted into the active form of the enzyme, that is like a pepsin. Again, when it is going to be active, it is getting active in the presence of enzyme, in the presence of acid, that is the HCl. In the presence of HCl, the inactive form, that is the pepsinogen, is converted into the pepsin. Again, by the utilization of these pepsin, in the presence of these pepsin, proteins are break down into peptones and the proteoses. Peptones and the proteoses. So in the presence of pepsin enzyme, proteins are break down into the peptones and the proteases. But before going to use of this pepsin is have to convert into the active form. Before it active form, it is in the inactive form. That inactive form of the pepsin is called as the pepsinogen. So you have to remember this pepsinogen is converting into pepsin. So see here, the pepsinogen is converted into the pepsin in the presence of HCl. After this, pepsin is converted into the peptones and the proteoses. It is break down into the simple forms. Again, the digestion is lead out into the small intestine. Whenever the partial digestion it take place into the stomach, the remaining total digestion process is take place into the small intestine, where again the trypsinogen, this is another enzyme, another form of the inactive form of the enzyme, like the trypsinogen is converted into the trypsin. By this active trypsin, it is useful to convert it into chymotrypsinogen, again convert into the chymotrypsin, and as a result it shows action on the procarboxylic peptidase. Finally it break down into the carboxypeptidase. So here in the small intestine, total process of the digestion will be take place. As a result, the proteins, peptones, proteases is break down into the dipeptides. Whatever the large molecules are there, that large molecules are break downs into the two molecular form of the proteins, those are called as the dipeptidase, where the two molecules of the protein are combined, and these dipeptides is break down into the amino acids, which are the free form of the proteins, and these dipeptides are break down by the help of enzymes, and here the enzymes are the dipeptidase. Which enzyme shows the action? Dipeptidase. So let me tell you the brief gist about this total process here. First of all, if we talk about the gastrointestinal tract, where the digestion of the proteins will be take place, coming to the buccal cavity, there is no protein digestion take place into the buccal cavity. So here in the mouth there is no digestion of the protein take place. Then coming to the stomach, that is the gastric digestion. The breakdown of the substances are the proteins into the peptones and the proteases in the presence of enzyme that is called as the pepsin. The inactive form of the pepsin is called as the pepsinogen. This pepsinogen is converted into the pepsin, and this pepsin is useful to break down the proteins into peptones and the proteases. And then coming to the small intestine, where the remaining digestion of the protein will be take place, here the another enzyme like the trypsinogen. Have you heard about this pepsinogen, trypsinogen? Okay, we are know about this our previous classes. So many enzymes are there which is useful for the action, to show their action on the carbohydrates, to show their action on the proteins, to show their action on the lipids. In the digestion process of these proteins and the lipids, so here for the digestion of the proteins, pepsinogen, trypsinogen, and this trypsinogen is converted into the trypsin, and by the use of this trypsin, it again convert the chymotrypsinogen to the chymotrypsin, and this chymotrypsin is converted into the procarboxylic peptidase to the carboxylic peptidase. As a result, in the presence of these different enzymes like the trypsin, chymotrypsin, and the carboxypeptidase, these protein form converted into the dipeptides, and these dipeptides are break down into the amino acids. And what are these amino acids? These amino acids are nothing but the free form of the proteins. These are the free form where it is easy to absorb, where it is easy to digest, as in the form of the nutrients. Where it is going to be digest, it is going to be absorbed, it is going to be digest at the cellular level, means whatever the food it is going to be absorbed, it is going to be digest, that has to be reached to the each and every cell. And what are the peptones? See here, large peptides, large molecules. Peptones are the large molecules. Proteases are nothing but the small polypeptides. So it could be break down into large and the small molecules. First the large chain is break down into the small chain, and then small chain is break down into the small polypeptides. Small peptides are break down into the dipeptides. Dipeptides are break down into the amino acids. So for this total about this total summary is that whatever the long molecules, long chain of the protein is break down into the small chain, and that small chain is break down into small molecules, and that small molecules finally break down into dipeptides, means two molecules are compound, and then finally it is break down into the simple monomer units, where single amino acids are formed. The simple form of amino acid, the simple form of protein is in the form of amino acid. In the form of the amino acids only, it is going to be absorbed. And see here, another flow chart is there. Let me tell you how it is going to be take place. First of all, dietary proteins which is taken up by the food, and in the mouth No, there is no mean of any digestion in the stomach. See here, what happened in the presence of HCl and the pepsin, it is denatured and partially hydrolyzed. Denature means removal of the water substances, or the it is going to be breakdown. Denature means it is going to be break down and then partially hydrolyzed in the form of the means partial hydrolysis of the substances will be take place. Coming to the small intestine, the next part of the gastrointestinal tract is the small intestine, where these partially form of the proteins or the hydrolyzed proteins are converted into the small peptides and the amino acid. Again, where in the presence of these enzymes, trypsin, chymotrypsin, aminopeptidase, carboxypeptidase, in the presence of these enzymes, these long molecules, these long partially digest polypeptides are going to be break down into the small peptides and the amino acids. And again in the small intestinal lining, so amino acid in the bloodstream, when after it break down into the amino acid, it break down into the end form of the proteins. Due to the active transport, it may be reached to the bloodstream by the active transport of the substances. And see here, what are the end products of protein digestion? Means after the breakdown of the protein, what are we are getting the end products? A mixture of free amino acids, di and the tripolypeptides or the tripeptides, all of which are absorbed actively from lumen to the cell. Lumen to the cell. So what are the remaining substances are in the form of like a end products by the process of these proteins. First of all, free amino acids are formed. Then diform, that is the dipeptides and the tripeptides are formed, which is formed due to the breakdown of long polypeptide chain. First of all, see here the process how it is going to be take place. The long chain is breakdown into the small chain, and this breakdown into the dipeptides or the tripeptides, and then finally it is formed as the end product of the amino acids. These amino acids are the simplest form of the proteins, where it is easily digest into the lumen. So what is the lumen? If you see the structure of the intestine, this total hollow cavity, this part is called as the lumen, where due to the process of active transport, due to the process of transport of substances, and due to this, whatever the lumen is there, whatever the hollow space are there, from there each and every cell of the intestine is going to be absorbed. And as we know, the internal lining of the intestine is contain some internal folds, and these are called as the villi, which is again gives the absorption area for the substances to be going to digest, for the substances which are going to be absorbed. And again see this diagram, you can easily understand this. Suppose this is the first of all the proteins. These are like a proteins. Again in the presence of pepsin, again in the presence of pancreatic proteases. Let me tell you where from these pancreatic proteases are formed. These are formed from the pancreas. So pancreas also responsible to secrete the secretions or pancreatic juices into the intestine. Whenever the pancreatic juice is formed, that pancreatic juice is secreted into the pancreas, and then it is secreted through the secreted into the intestine, where the substances for ready for the digestion. By the action of this pancreatic juice, it is going to be digest. So what happens when this pancreatic proteases enter into the intestine? So see here, the small peptides are converted in the presence of, or you can say these small peptides and large peptides and free amino acids, that is again in the form of like a natural form, basic form, acidic form. Means this is depend upon their pH, the nature of the substances. Where the neutral form is there, where the pH concentration is about the 7, As we know, the 7 is mentioned as the substances neutral phase, where below the 7 that is the acidic in nature, above the 7 basic in nature. So what happens, see here, the small polypeptides, whatever the small polypeptides are there, that is by the help of carrier molecule. Here, so this is the outer part of the lumen, or you can say the outer part of the cell, and this is the internal lining of the intestine, where you can see so many finger like projection are the internal villi are there. By the help of carrier or the vehicle, you can see, you can call it as like a vehicle. Carrier are nothing but these are like a vehicle which receive the components or which receives the molecules from outside of the membrane to the inside of the membrane. It needs a supportive molecule, those are called as the carrier molecules, or commonly you can call it as like a vehicles or transport vehicles, which transports the substances to the outside of the membrane to the inside of the membrane. Whatever the substances are there, those substances are going to be transported from the outer surface of the membrane to the inner surface of the membrane with the help of these carrier molecules, these receivers, these vehicle, these transport material. Then these small polypeptides are enters into the internal lining or the internal surface of the cell or internal surface of the intestine. Then it is break down into the intracellular peptidase. Whatever the internal cellular peptidase, whatever the enzymes which are present inside the cell, those are called as the intracellular. See here, whenever the term is come as like a intra means inner side. So intracellular enzymes are there. Those intracellular enzymes, these are break down in these amino acid, and then it is completely break and absorbed in the intestinal lining. As a result, it could be mix and reaches to the capillary, where it enters into the bloodstream. Through the blood, it enters into the different parts of the body. Through the blood, whatever the dietary absorptive form of the nutrients, those nutrients are absorbed and it is enter into the blood. From the blood, as a medium, it enters into the different parts of the body. This is the somewhat about the small peptides. And what happens the large peptides? These large peptides are enters or break down into this. See here, first of all, the large peptides are break down into the small peptides and in the form of the free amino acid. The large peptides are not directly entered into the lumen. It does not enter into the intracellular space. It has to break down into the simple form. Whenever it is going to break into the simple form, then only it is enter into the internal surface of the cell. If it is present into the larger form, it does not enter into the internal surface. Before entering into the internal area, it has to break down into small peptides, or it has to break down into the free amino acids. Again, you can see here, these free amino acids also needs the carrier mediators or the transporters. Carrier mediators are the transporters. With the help of these carrier proteins or this help of these carrier molecules, these free amino acids are again enter into the intracellular space. As a result, finally it is mixed with the bloodstream. With the help of blood, it is going to be reached to the each and every cell of the body. So this is the total phenomenon, how the large polypeptides, large chain of polypeptides are break down into the smaller amino acids. See, the total journey of the digestion, or you can say the total process of the digestion of this is taking place between the large molecules or the large polypeptides finally has to be formed in the form of smaller amino acid. This is the total phenomena behind this, how the digestion of the proteins will be take place. The simple thing there, you just see how the larger substances are going to be break down into smaller substances. The larger polypeptides, why we are saying the larger polypeptides? Poly means so many or many, peptides the components of the proteins. Whatever the protein large molecules or the chain is there, which is again combined with the or joined with the peptide bond, and this has to be break down into the smaller peptides, smaller molecules, and these smaller molecules has to be again breaks to form the end products in the form of amino acids. The end products of these, that is again the free form of amino acids. As a result of the protein digestion from the long molecules, from the larger substances, it has to be break, and these has to be end as a amino acid. Again, this is the like carrier proteins, how this is useful for the transportation of the substances. So see here, this is the cell membrane, and these are like a carrier molecules which are again which are again useful to enter into the substances inside the cytosol. This total region is the internal surface of the cell, and it is filled up with the cytosol, the liquid substance of the cell, and this is the intestinal lumen, and from where the substances again in the form of these amino acid is entering into the cytosol or the inner surface of the cell, and some ions like the sodium ion, positive charge ions, sodium ions, with the help of these carrier proteins. You can see this there, some of the carrier proteins are there. These carrier proteins are useful, or these proteins are allowed to enter the substances from outside of the membrane to the inside of the membrane. So whenever this cytosol, whenever these amino acids are enter into the cytosol, it will again enter into the portal circulation, means hepatoportal system or the capillary system. This is the capillary system where these receive charge particles. It is in the form of like sodium, like potassium, with the help of ATP. It needs the energy, that's why it is called as the active transport. Here by the help of these ATP, this is like a active transport. Why we are saying this active transport? Why? Because by need of or by the use of ATP. Here this is the use of ATP, and with the help of enzyme that is called as the ATPase. ATPase is an enzyme which is responsible to carry out, to bring the substances or to release the energy from the breakage of these amino acids from outside of the membrane to the inside of the membrane. So this is the total phenomena how the active transport is take place throughout the membrane. And one more thing you have to remember here, the one thing that carrier protein, you can see in the term only, it receives the substances, it is allow the substances to the membrane. This is the, you can see in this diagram, this is the carrier protein which carry the substances from outside the membrane to the inside the membrane. It carry the substances. So which substances are going to be carried? That is in the form of amino acids and some of the charge particles. What are the charge particles? You can take the example of like sodium charge particles, potassium charge particles, that is again the positive charge particles. Sodium and this potassium, these are again the positive charge particles. These particles are the substances are again enter from outside of the surface of the intestinal membrane to the internal surface of the capillary system. where after entering into the capillary system it is mixed with the blood, and from the blood it is passed, or through the blood it is passed into the different parts of the body. So finally in the digestion process the large substances are break down into the smaller substances. After the breakdown it is formed as a simple absorbable form. As a result it reaches into the blood. From the blood it passes to the different parts of the body. So this is the total physiological processes which is take place behind the digestion of the protein. Again this is a chart we showing about the process and what is in which region of the gastrointestinal tract what are the substances are going to be digest and the absorb in the oral cavity. See here the polysaccharide, this is about the digestion of carbohydrates in the oral cavity. This is a comparative chart, easy for the comparison. You can compare from this oral cavity. The digestion of the glucose is take place, whereas the digestion of the carbohydrates and the glucose is take place in the oral cavity due to the presence of salivary amylase enzyme, whereas the protein digestion is not take place in the mouth. And the next part is the stomach. The carbohydrate digestion is not take place into the stomach, whereas the stomach the gastric protein digestion is take place. A large part of the digestion is take place, that is the proteins are converted into the polypeptides, and these polypeptides in the intestine is converted into the smaller polypeptides, and by the presence of pancreatic trypsin, chymotrypsin, and these are the trypsinogen. So different types of the enzymes which are responsible to convert the small polypeptides to the again the free form of the amino acids. And this is the epithelium of the small intestine, brush border of the intestine. So as I told now, the internal lining of the intestine is contains the sum of the villi like finger like projection. Due to the presence of this is also called as like a brush border. The internal lining is covered with finger like projection, those are again called as the villi. So here the end product of carbohydrate digestion is the monosaccharide like glucose, and the end product of protein digestion is in the form of like a amino acid. When the carbohydrates are break down it forms the simple form of glucose, simple form of sugar. That simple form of glucose, that simple form of sugar is called as the monosaccharides. Proteins are break down and form into the simple form. That simple form of the proteins is called as the amino acids. So after that we have the digestion of the nucleic acid and the fat digestion. So see here again, if you see the digestion of the fat also, let me tell you, in the mouth and the stomach the digestion of the fat is not take place. The fat digestion is also take place only in the intestinal part, whereas the nucleic acid, the breakdown of the nucleic acid is only take place into the intestinal part. The nucleic acid is only take place into the intestine, whereas in the mouth and the buccal cavity the digestion of nucleic acid is also not take place. In the stomach also it does not take place. It only take place only in the intestinal part. So if we talk about the carbohydrates, only the carbohydrates are the glucose which is digest in the mouth or the buccal cavity. Rather than this, the three substances like the proteins, nucleic acids and the fats not digest in the mouth cavity. So this is about again the how the substances are transport, like glucose and the galactose. It is formed into the secondary active transport and it enters into the intestinal layer. This is the intestinal wall. It is break down into the monosaccharides, and then from here it enters into the bloodstream. And like fructose, first glucose then fructose, again by the facilitated diffusion it is enters into the again intestine, enters into the blood capillary. Proteins also like amino acid, by the active transport it is enter into the amino acids. By the help of diffusion it enters into the blood capillaries. and dipeptides, tripeptides. These are all whatever the substances which are formed by the process of the digestion. It then enter into the intestinal lumen. This is the intestinal wall, and this is like a brush border or the microvilli, finger like projections are there. Brush border by the active transport, whatever the products are there here, after the breakage into the simple form, it enters into this intestinal lumen. From here it enters into the blood. From there it enters or it transport into the different part of the body. So in this diagram you can see whatever the dietary substances are there, it may be like the carbohydrates, it may be like a proteins, it may be like a lipids, it could be digested, it could be break into the simple form, and as a result after the breakdown into the simple form it enters into the intestine, and from there it again absorb into the micromolecules, where from it enters into the blood. Through the blood it passes to the different part, means each and every cell of the body of individual. So by this we are end up with the topic. In this module I discussed about what is the definition for the proteins, what are the different types of enzymes which are again responsible for the breakdown of the substances, like endopeptidase, and what are the exopeptidase, and what is the total physiological process of the protein digestion that could be take place into the different parts of gastrointestinal tract. It means into the stomach, in the intestine, and which enzymes are responsible for the transportation of the substances. And this is like a flow chart how we discuss about that, and see what are the end products and how the active transport of the substances is take place. Whatever the substances which are present outside the material, outside the membrane, that has to be enter inside the membrane with the help of some carrier molecules, with the help of some transporters. These transporters or the carrier molecules are useful to transport the substances from outside the membrane to the inside of the membrane. And this is again with the help of some active, or what we can say here, it needs some energy, some charge molecules, and those charge molecules are like sodium gated channels, potassium gated channels, which are allow the substances to enter into this internal cellular spaces. And whenever this enter into the internal cellular spaces, it reaches to the free form. Okay, and see here, this is the active transport again. Whatever the free form of that which will be present into the intestinal lumen or the hollow cavity of the intestine, it may be enter into the cellular level, that is again in the cytosol. From the cytosol it enters into the blood stream, it enters into blood. And this is a again what we can say here, this is like a flow chart which showing the in which part of the digestion, which part of the gastrointestinal tract what are the substances are going to be digest. Means only the glucose is digest into the mouth or the buccal cavity, that is in the salivary enzyme. Salivary amylase is the enzyme which is useful for the digestion of the glucose at the mouth or the oral cavity. It is also called a ptyalin. Salivary amylase is called here ptyalin, which is again P is silent. So you people have to know about this. You have to pronounce like a ptyalin, where the P is the silent. So only glucose is converted, or glucose is digested into the polysaccharides, is converted into smaller polysaccharides. Larger polysaccharides is converted into smaller polysaccharides, and in the form of like maltose, in the form of like glucose, in the form of like galactose, or in the form of like the fructose. Whatever the substances which are formed in the mouth, then it is enter into the small intestine. In the stomach there is a no digestion for the glucose, where in the intestinal lumen the glucose digestion will be take place, and then it enters into the intestinal wall, that is the brush border of the intestinal wall. After that, protein digestion, if you see about the protein digestion, it could be like a protein is not digested in the oral cavity. It only the digestion process start in the intestine and the stomach, where the free form of amino acids are there. These free form of amino acids are entering into the intestine, where it is again in breakdown, and in the presence of intestinal juices and the presence of pancreatic juices, it could be breakdown into the simple form. As a result, free form of amino acids is formed. This is the amino acids and this is the free form of glucose, and the free form of fats are like a fatty acids, glyceraldehydes. These are all the free forms of the fats. Free forms of the amino acids of the proteins, and free form of the glucose, nothing but the free form of polysaccharides are the sugars, and the free form of fats, these are nothing but like a glycerols and the glyceraldehydes, and the what we can say here, the fatty acids are there. And after the next session I am going to discuss about the digestion and absorption of the fats, that how the fats, dietary fats, are converted into the simple form, that is in the simple form of like fatty acids, and these fatty acids are again break down into the glycerides and the glyceraldehydes and the free form of fatty acids. So we will discuss in the next module, and after that we have the another session for the nucleic acids, nucleic acid digestion, the how the DNA and the RNA, these are all substances are going to be digested in the intestine, and as a result in the process of the digestion of nucleic acid, the end products are like a nitrogenous bases like sugars, phosphatases. These are all products are formed by the process of the digestion of nucleic acid. So totally in the physiological part we are going to discuss about the digestion of carbohydrates, digestion of the proteins, digestion of the lipids, and digestion of the nucleic acid molecules and the substances. And another session we have the another part of the digestion, that is the digestion of cellulose, which is again seen into the animals. Cellulose digestion we are going to discuss in the next session also. So this is only take place into the animals, the grazing animals like cow or the grass eating animals. You can see the digestion of cellulose, how the cellulose is also going to be digested in their body. But whenever we are talking about the digestion of cellulose, it is not take place into the human, it only take place into the animals, that is only take place into the grazing animals. So we will going to discuss about in the next session. I think by this we are end up with the topic. Thank you for listening.